i24 News contributor Stuart Smith is with me now from Moscow for more insight. Thanks for your time this morning, Stuart. So, major differences between the Russians and Israelis. Obviously, Moscow alleges the Jewish agency breached privacy laws. Israel says they have no idea what the Russians want. What are you expecting to come out of the hearing scheduled for today?
Well, it's a preliminary hearing, first of all, so it's just the start of proceedings, and we also don't know yet what was arranged between that Israeli delegation and the Ministry of Justice when they were due to speak on Wednesday evening. Whether anything has been arranged that might mean this preliminary trial either does not need to take place or at least won't go much further than just this hearing. The issue here is the Ministry of Justice initially sent the documentation to Sokhnut, as the branch is known here, saying that they were breaching the operational laws that NGOs must follow here in Russia. It was never initially a diplomatic spat, but clearly it has been upgraded, whether the Kremlin likes it or not. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says the issue here is an organization has breached Russian law. The Ministry of Justice hasn't officially declared why, and it should not be seen in any broader context with Russia-Israeli relations, but with the intervention of the Prime Minister, it clearly now has that status. In terms of what the Ministry of Justice accused here, they've only provided information that the operations of Sokhnut are not in line with the requirements, but sources unofficially speaking to Russian media have suggested there are two main reasons it may have been targeted. The first is that it's not complying with Russian data protection laws, sending data of Russian citizens abroad in the incorrect manner, but also that potentially with thousands of Russian citizens being helped to leave Russia, there is an issue, a problem at the Ministry of Justice as it's perceived with too many Russian citizens leaving for Israel.
My understanding as well, Stuart, is that about 600,000 Russian Jews are currently eligible to immigrate to Israel. But how much of a worry is this case stirring among Russians right now?
Yeah, last year in Moscow, around 7,500, according to Sokhnut, Russian citizens emigrated to Israel. There's a waiting list of around 9,000 just in Moscow alone. But this branch has departments all across Russia, and so there are thousands of people potentially affected by its closure. However, we should stress it's not the only route, of course. This is one agency, although the biggest and most influential, that helps Russian citizens get to Israel. It's not the only one. And the other thing is that we don't know what the consequence could be. Right now, we know that previously in the last 3 years, Sokhnut have been fined for alleged violations by the Russian Ministry of Justice, but the outcome of this trial may simply be a mandatory change to the way they work. It might be the declaration of foreign agent status, as so many NGOs here have received, or indeed it might be the liquidation. But with such a hard hitters coming from Israel, lawyers, diplomats as well, there is a chance that the operations here could be cleaned up, and therefore the NGO not having to shut down.
Thank you so much, Stuart Smith there, the i24 News contributor from Moscow.